What I'm about to share could change everything. This isn't about expensive treatments or complicated routines. American doctors have been watching a specific pattern of hair thinning in women over 60. And the research coming out of major universities is remarkable. There's one powerful food that U.S. medical professionals are now recommending, and it's probably sitting in your kitchen right now. But before I reveal it, I need to walk you through 5 critical foods in the right order, because getting this wrong could actually make things worse. If you stay until the end, you'll discover exactly what to add to your breakfast tomorrow morning. Please hit that like button, drop a comment with your age so we can build this community of women supporting each other. And let's get started. Let me start by saying something important. What you're experiencing is real. And it's not just about aging. The type of hair loss that affects American and European women after 60 has specific characteristics that doctors in the United States have been studying intensively. I want to get to know you better. Write your name and which city you are watching from in the comments below. This isn't the same as what younger women experience, and it's certainly not something you should ignore or accept as inevitable. Most medical professionals here in the States now understand that this thinning, often starting at the crown and widening the part, is less about hormones and more about poor nutrient signaling and dramatically reduced absorption rates post-menopause. The problem isn't usually a lack of expensive exotic vitamins. The problem is that your body, as it ages, loses the ability to successfully extract the basic, necessary building blocks from the healthy foods you are already eating. If we don't fix the absorption problem first, any costly supplement you take is essentially just getting flushed down the drain. We need to create a synergistic environment where these nutrients can actually do their job. Let's begin with food number 5, and I promise you this isn't what you'd expect. We're talking about plain Greek yogurt. Now, why Greek yogurt? Your hair follicles are fundamentally made of protein, and after 60, the production of stomach acid and crucial digestive enzymes slows down. This means that the high-quality protein from your chicken or your morning shake isn't being broken down effectively into the amino acids your hair follicles need to construct new strands. Greek yogurt provides partially broken down, easily digestible protein. But the real magic is the probiotics. Research coming out of major centers like Stanford has highlighted how critical the gut microbiome is to nutrient utilization. The live cultures in the yogurt help enhance the extraction and utilization of amino acids right where the absorption happens, essentially turning your digestive system back into an efficient hair-building machine. You need that high-protein strained version, not the standard stuff, because we are targeting the highest concentration of bioavailable protein possible. Moving right along, we come to food number 4, raw pumpkin seeds. If Greek yogurt solves the protein absorption problem, pumpkin seeds solve the protein utilization problem. Think of zinc, which is abundant in these seeds, as the key that unlocks the cell's ability to use the protein you just absorbed. A massive number of women over 60 have suboptimal zinc levels, not low enough to trigger an emergency room visit, but low enough to sabotage hair growth. Zinc plays 2 major roles here. First, it's critical for cell division and replication, which is exactly what a hair follicle does when it grows. And second, it regulates the oil glands surrounding the follicle, maintaining moisture balance and preventing that dry, brittle environment that leads to breakage. Just a couple of tablespoons of these seeds provides the necessary dose to move your zinc levels from barely scraping by to optimal for growth. But again, timing is everything, and they must be consumed with the next ingredients to ensure the full nutrient package is delivered. This brings us to food number 3, and this is crucial for establishing the right soil for growth: ground flax seed. When we age, we develop low-grade, chronic inflammation. You might not feel it as joint pain, but it acts like a hostile soil on your scalp, silently damaging the follicular environment. This inflammation, often called inflammaging, chokes off the necessary blood supply and micronutrients the follicle needs to thrive. We have to extinguish that fire. Ground flax seed provides anti-inflammatory, plant-based omega-3s, specifically alpha-linolenic acid, ALA. Unlike fish oil, This plant-based fat is gentler on the digestive system, and when consumed daily, research supported by groups at Harvard suggests it can significantly lower systemic inflammatory markers. This calms the scalp, reduces irritation, and creates a supportive, healthy environment where hair can actually take root. Note that you must use ground flaxseed, not whole. Whole seeds pass right through you, while the ground version allows the essential oils to be released and absorbed effectively. So far, we've covered the foundation: maximizing protein absorption, yogurt, ensuring that protein is properly utilized, pumpkin seeds, and calming the hostile environment, flaxseed. These three elements stabilize the system and stop the excessive shedding you're currently experiencing. But stabilization isn't growth. To truly reverse the thinning and reactivate those dormant follicles, we need to address the two biggest deep deficiencies U.S. doctors are now seeing. We need to flip the internal switch that tells the follicles to start growing again, and that requires targeting stored iron and a master hormone. If you skip the next two foods, the first three will merely slow the decline, but they won't trigger the powerful regrowth and density we are aiming for. The difference is profound, and the next ingredient addresses the body's primal survival mechanism, which often prioritizes everything but your hair. When we talk about the body's primal survival mechanism, we are talking about resources. Imagine your hair follicles as the economy of a small town. When times are good, everyone gets funding. When the economy crashes, the internal government pulls money from non-essential departments, parks, recreation, and yes, hair growth. For women over 60, this internal economy often crashes, not because of severe anemia, but due to insufficient stored iron, known clinically as low ferritin. Most primary care doctors in the U.S. don't flag low ferritin unless you fall below 12 nanograms per milliliter. But leading hair specialists across the country now agree that for optimal hair growth, your ferritin needs to be above 50. Anything below that range, and your body actively pulls iron away from the follicles. The hair doesn't fall out violently, it just stops renewing, entering a state of hibernation that makes your part look wider and your ponytail feel significantly thinner over time. You might feel a little tired, but often the most visible symptom is simply that your hair refuses to thicken back up, despite what seems like adequate care. To fix this deep resource deficit, we need food number 2, cooked spinach. While many patients jump straight to iron supplements, synthetic iron can often cause severe stomach upset and constipation, which makes daily consistency almost impossible. And consistency is the key here. Spinach offers a rich source of gentle, non-heme iron. More importantly, when you eat it as part of this specific breakfast protocol, it is perfectly paired with the vitamin C naturally found in the other foods we discussed. Vitamin C is a powerful absorption enhancer for iron, and without it, up to 90% of the iron you eat just passes right through your system without benefit. Eating 1 cup of cooked spinach daily provides the steady supply necessary to start slowly restocking those ferritin reserves without irritating your digestive system. It's a slow burn, not a quick jolt, designed to convince your body that the resource crisis is over and that it is safe to restart the parks and recreation funding for your hair follicles. Now, while stabilizing the inflammation with flaxseed and restocking the iron reserves with spinach stops the system from actively declining, we still haven't flipped the internal switch that tells the follicles, it is time to start multiplying and growing new, dense strands. Stopping the decline only gets you back to zero. To achieve significant regrowth, density, and thickness, the kind of improvement you can see in the mirror after 6 months, we must address the single biggest deep nutritional deficiency that acts as a master hormone and growth signal. This final deficiency is why so many women try biotin supplements or expensive growth serums and see zero results. They are trying to build a house, but they haven't sent the contractor the official start notice. That notice is delivered by the most powerful ingredient in our 5-food protocol, and it's about far more than just protein or biotin. We need to focus on a highly specific fat-soluble vitamin that your hair follicle cells desperately need to shift from their telogen, resting phase, where they are just hanging on, to their anagen, active growth phase, where they are producing thick, healthy hair. This final food is the true catalyst that makes everything else work together. This final food, the true catalyst that makes everything else work together, is the simple, humble egg. Now, I know what you're thinking. I already eat eggs. That's where the biotin is. And yes, eggs are famous for biotin, but that's not why they are the critical master switch for this specific type of postmenopausal hair thinning. The real power is in two other components found primarily within the yolk: a specific form of highly bioavailable vitamin D and a nutrient called choline. Research from institutions like Johns Hopkins has focused heavily on the unique biological pathway that controls hair growth, and it turns out our follicles are incredibly responsive to vitamin D signaling. You see, the hair follicle cells have specialized receptors for vitamin D. Think of these receptors as tiny switches. If the body's vitamin D level is suboptimal, which is incredibly common for women over 60, especially during winter months or if sunscreen is used frequently, that switch stays off. The follicle remains in its telogen, or resting, phase, where it just holds onto the old strand until it inevitably sheds. By consuming 2 whole eggs daily, we provide a dose of vitamin D that is perfectly packaged with the necessary fat in the yolk. Remember, vitamin D is fat-soluble, and to get that go signal efficiently to the follicle cells, it must be consumed with fat for maximum absorption. This combination ensures that the signal is not just ingested, but actually delivered to the receptors, flipping the switch from resting to the anagen, or active growth, phase. This is the official start notice we talked about. It tells your body to invest the resources we've stocked, the iron and protein, into growing new, thick hair. But the eggs aren't finished working yet. The second critical component is choline. Choline is essential for the structural integrity of every cell membrane in your body. When hair follicles begin multiplying rapidly in the active growth phase, they need a high supply of choline to build strong, stable cell walls. As we age, our body's internal production of choline tends to decline, making dietary intake absolutely essential. If you start growing hair again, but the new cells don't have enough choline, the resulting strand will be weak, brittle, and prone to breaking before it has a chance to mature. So, the eggs provide the signal, vitamin D, and the foundational building material, choline, simultaneously. This is why the synergy of the 5 foods is non-negotiable. If you eat the eggs but skip the spinach, you give the signal to grow, but the body realizes the iron fuel tank is empty, and the growth will be weak or abandoned. If you eat the spinach and the eggs, but skip the flaxseed, the follicle tries to grow in an inflamed, hostile soil, leading to rapid shedding. If you skip the Greek yogurt, the body doesn't absorb the protein needed to physically construct the hair. When you consume all 5, the highly absorbable protein and probiotics from the Greek yogurt, the zinc from the pumpkin seeds, the anti-inflammatory omega-3s from the ground flaxseed, the gentle iron from the cooked spinach, and the vitamin D and choline from the 2 whole eggs, you create a comprehensive environment. You've calmed the inflammation, refueled the storage tanks, provided the structural blueprints, and finally, delivered the master growth signal. That is the complete protocol, and it's a systematic correction of age-related nutritional debt, not a simple supplement fix. This is why the synergy of the 5 foods is non-negotiable. If you eat the eggs but skip the spinach, you give the signal to grow, but the body realizes the iron fuel tank is empty and the growth will be weak or abandoned. If you eat the spinach and the eggs but skip the flaxseed, the follicle tries to grow in an inflamed, hostile soil, leading to rapid shedding. If you skip the Greek yogurt, the body doesn't absorb the protein needed to physically construct the hair. When you consume all 5, the highly absorbable protein and probiotics from the Greek yogurt, the zinc from the pumpkin seeds, the anti-inflammatory omega-3s from the ground flaxseed, the gentle iron from the cooked spinach, and the vitamin D and choline from the 2 whole eggs, you create a comprehensive environment. You've calmed the inflammation, refueled the storage tanks, provided the structural blueprints, and finally, delivered the master growth signal. That is the complete protocol, and it's a systematic correction of age-related nutritional debt, not a simple supplement fix. Now, let's turn this powerful science into a simple 10-minute routine. This protocol is specifically designed as the first meal of your day because it provides the essential nutrients needed to kickstart your metabolism and deliver the signaling elements while your gut is ready for absorption. Here is the step-by-step assembly of your daily hair growth breakfast. First, you will take roughly 3 to 4 cups of plain, low-fat Greek yogurt. Into that yogurt, you will stir 1 leveled tablespoon of ground flax seed and 1 leveled tablespoon of raw pumpkin seeds. The yogurt and seeds can sit together for a moment while you prepare the remaining items. Next, you need your cooked spinach, about 1 cup, measured after cooking. Steaming or quickly sautéing the spinach is key because the heat slightly breaks down the cell walls, making the iron more accessible for absorption. Finally, prepare your 2 whole eggs. Any style is fine, scrambled, hard-boiled, or over easy. Just make sure you eat both the yolk and the white. Combine the cooked spinach alongside your eggs and eat the yogurt mixture immediately after or alongside. That's it. You have provided the complete toolkit. The seeds and flax calm inflammation and provide the zinc key. The spinach refuels your storage tank. The Greek yogurt provides the highly absorbable building blocks, and the eggs deliver the vitamin D signal. I know what you're thinking. When will I actually see the results? This is the most crucial part of expectation management because hair grows slowly, on average only about ½ inch per month. This means you won't see immediate change, but the benefits happen in phases. Most women report noticing a significant reduction in shedding, meaning less hair clogging the shower drain or winding up on the floor, somewhere between 6 to 8 weeks into the protocol. This is your first positive sign, indicating that the inflammation has calmed and the anagen phase is lengthening. Around the 12-week mark, or 3 months, you should start noticing your existing hair feels thicker and is less prone to breaking off. It takes a full 6 months to see truly significant density improvements, where dormant follicles have fully cycled and begun pushing through strong, thick strands. This is the timeline where you can look at photos and genuinely track the progress. This brings up the non-negotiable component: consistency. You cannot treat this protocol like a short-term cleanse or a temporary boost. If you stop providing the body with the highly targeted nutrients, the iron, the choline, the specialized protein, it will revert to its previous state of nutritional debt and the hair will thin again. Think of this protocol like maintaining ideal blood pressure or taking your necessary vitamins. It is essential maintenance for aging biology. I suggest aiming for 6 days a week, allowing 1 day for flexibility. Now I want to know if you liked the video. Leave a rating from 0 to 10 in the comments so we know if we are on the right track.